in my presentation. I'm trying to go very quickly. Sorry for just this. Anyway, behind this idea is the idea of zero tolerance to drugs, and Jorge Javier Romero referred to that, so I won't say much more. The idea also is to increase state officials and public officials' leverage into what they can do and they cannot do while enforcing the regulation, and this is particularly important. The idea behind this is that public officials should have the most conditions, or the best conditions, or a wider range of conditions to actually enforce regulation. And I think this is a problem, and this is a problem that flaws the whole policy. Behind this policy, there's a smell of distrust from the state towards its own citizens. And I think this is a big problem. It seems like Mexican state is not clearly trusting its citizens, and therefore there's a clear need to provide authorities with way more attributions in order to enforce regulations. Due process appears as an undue inconvenience. I do want to stress that again. It seems that in the atmosphere of the war on drugs, due process is just inconvenient. Due process doesn't let us walk correctly, and that is a problem. Current regulation is not, it's reducing or undermining due process, and it's not attacking other problems: corruption, negligence, abuse, and in general, the idea of lack of supervision. In a way, what we need, in a way, what I would say that we need is like a stronger institutional, or strengthen our institution instead of trying to go out and get our citizens in that sense. There's a new division of labor. Basically, Alejandro's going to be way more clear on this, but basically, felonies that have to do with drugs are divided into 3 great areas. The third one would actually be probably a misdemeanor. If a person is caught with a large amount of a forbidden substance, that would be trafficking. That if a person is caught with a forbidden substance in an amount established in a chart, Alejandro will refer that, then you could be called a dealer or a small-time dealer. And then if you're caught with possession, only with possession, and you can presume that it's only for your consumption, then it could be a misdemeanor, and you will actually have to face some sort of the institutionalization of the system. But this has to be clear. That's not legalization. Anyway, fish and ponds. Is this about big fish and the small ponds? Basically regulating for dealers, or local dealers, small-time dealers? No, I don't think so. This is going to be basically of extortion and going after our teenagers, our high school kids, and young people, and especially this is going to happen in marginalized zones. So I'm not sure this is going to go good. If you don't reform also police, you probably will have a lot of extortions there. I'm not sure exactly how much. I mean, police do their job sometimes they don't. And we have very many. So, well, time is just finishing, and I was just gonna conclude. So, yeah, okay, 3 phrases to conclude. We should begin by enforcing compliance among public officers. This is a big problem. Public officers, usually in criminal investigation, are not very clear. The idea of the exclusionary evidence is not strong in Mexico, so then you get to see a lot of evidence that's pretty flawed from a procedural perspective. Second, we should review the social costs of this policy. Essentially, we're not doing very much in the social costs of this policy. And third, we should work on prevention. And that would be it. Thank you.
Yeah.